Okay, so this is the official tutorial on how to put on JMakTek trailer hitch. At this point, for the E-Revo, doesn't matter which edition, it should be the same all around. Personally, my E-Revo has got a Summit hitch, or a Summit rear bumper on it. All I did was swap out the E-Revo tail fin for the Summit bumper. So, and I used the same hardware. With this, I add my hardware into what comes along with the hitch. So you'll get any hardware that you don't have, or that you'll need, you'll get from me. What you need is a 7/32 socket. The smaller the better if you can get it in there. This is kind of a tricky thing to do. I usually only tighten it up. These are locking nuts on the inside. So what I do is I only do them finger tight. So it's usually pretty easy to undo these unless you really reef them down, and then you gotta kind of give it a lot more. So what I do is I just get it to that point, and then you get these Allen heads for a rechargeable screwdriver. Get one of these little deals. You know, you want to be real careful so you don't strip it out. That's the big thing, and you want to make sure that you get a tight fit. And I always make sure that I can unscrew it a little bit first before I use the power. Make sure you're going in the right direction. There's a lot of different electric screwdrivers, cordless screwdrivers on the market right now, and I don't really recommend one over another. I don't have a whole lot of it. I've had this one for years. This thing is old, and the only reason I got it was because you can still get the rechargeable batteries for it. So a lot of the lithium ones now have an internal battery that you can't replace. Essentially, what you're going to get from me is all four of these little 7/32 nuts, just two of these, and then you'll get the actual Allen screws, which the screws are actually threaded into the aluminum. I threaded it into aluminum, so technically you don't even need the nuts. It'll stay on there if you lose one of these locking nuts, which I would be really surprised if you would. But essentially, these are just long. I think I actually have a different set of screws. I've got two different sets of screws. I've got the pan head, and then I also have the regular barrel head. So I've got to check and make sure that I have the right screws to send out. But it really doesn't matter. I mean, I can't remember how long these ones are. They're probably 25 millimeter. Yeah, they're probably 25 millimeter, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. I don't know. Anyway, so that's how you take it off, obviously, and you just put it on exactly the opposite direction. So you got to make sure this is what it looks like on the E-Revo. If you end up taking apart this hardware for whatever reason, this one's actually not even tightened down all the way, but when I send them out, I buff them all up. They're all good to go. I actually should show you the one that my first customer is getting. It all looks really nice, and it's all I Loctited it down. Yeah, this one's actually super loose. I Loctited it down. I used a locking washer. All of that should keep it fairly stable since there's only one locking point on it. But if you take a good jump, you might hit it and it might twist, so you're gonna have to tighten it up or readjust it. But essentially, you just pop it in behind here, and again, it's a lot easier to do with the electric, but if all you have, I'm kind of spoiled that way. If all you have is your straight Allen wrench, that works too. Really quite easy. I mean, it's just the two screws, really, and everything else is all put together. So that's precisely why I use this. Especially when I'm doing it on video. Just tighten it up. Make sure both sides have about the same amount coming through. You can tighten it down quite a bit. I mean, if you strip the aluminum, again, it really doesn't matter because you still have the nuts to put behind there, which is great. It's always good to have two nuts, right? So, get that 7/32 behind there, and just crank it down with your fingertips. Again, if you want to make sure that you don't lose one of your nuts, I guess the only thing you can do with this is use a really tiny wrench, or grab onto the, because you're not, take your entire thing apart. I mean, you could take the whole thing apart and then you'd be able to get it, but for the most part, who wants to do that? If you, all you want to do is put this together quick, this is going to be the, the easiest way to do it. And then you can always do that too. Just put it on there, tighten it up. Like I said, if you strip out the aluminum, no big deal. It should be threaded. The aluminum should be threaded, but the aluminum, it's kind of soft. It's nice metal to work with, but it's thick. So you got plenty in there, and if it strips out the aluminum, that's again why I put in the locking washers, or locking nuts, nylon nuts. Really, anyway. So yeah, you can take out these screws here, and I have to explain that some other video, but you can take out the screws here and take it all apart and do it that way, but this is going to be obviously the easiest way to do it. You are going to notice that there's going to be a little bit of bowing by your rear carry, your rear handle. It doesn't break it, at least as far as I know. I mean, I've had it on there for a while now, and it just bows out. You're just going to go right around it, unless you wanted to, of course, grind out some of the bottom and then it would sit flush over it, but I wouldn't recommend that, especially if it fits the way it is. So that's pretty much it for the E-Revo. I'm gonna have to add one for the E-maxx, and the Slash is kind of like, does it really make any sense to do this, a separate video for the Slash? I guess if I want to, I can cut this out. This is what the Slash looks like. Is just take out the two screws and put them in there. The aluminum is formed so that the nut fits in there, but essentially take out the two screws, you go right through this, and I just don't have the thing on there. That one fits a little different because it actually goes right over this, and you want to make sure this one's more prone to turning. I have got to come up with another way of doing that, but so there you go. That one goes on, you tighten it up, and then you put it on, so make sure it's tight and all that kind of stuff.